Ask your name and address and ask your question. I'll make your statement. Yes, please.
On the conversation that was before with the benefits and pensions, are there any prior council members who still receive health benefits or pensions? Do they continue after they leave council?
No.
No?
They don't.
Okay.
No.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else in the audience who wishes to be heard? Yes, please.
Yes, hi. I did a lot of research regarding these benefits in the state pertaining to my family. I've got some astonishing numbers. First of all, one of the other things that the council needs to look into is the waiver of incentive for the state health benefits program. After May of 2010, it is 25% that you may choose to waiver out and receive money from instead of taking the state benefits. Prior to May of 2010, it was 50%. So it's very interesting to see, and I have the data right here, regarding who now and who in the past has opted for that incentive. $20,000 is a huge shock number. I mean, I was totally shocked. I was shocked to find it in the patch and all this condescending smearing of my husband's name. But I have some numbers. I just want stated on the record that I did research. And yes, it is, Councilman Cannon, of public nature. Let me tell you some of my numbers. In the last 7 years alone, ex-Councilman Tom Smith, $37,690 in insurance money from the town. Ex-Councilwoman Marianne Hone, $7,744. In the last 17 years, the number was an exorbitant $158,560. That's the research that I've done, and these numbers, absolutely, if you agree, if you don't agree, tell me now, but I just wanted to give those numbers and state them on the record.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone else in the audience who wishes to be heard? Yes, please. Gentleman in the back.
Two items. One, on the consent agenda tonight, you approved the D block of FCC broadband. You have to be very careful. There are two different pieces of legislation out there concerning the D block. One is you give D block to the emergency services and it doesn't get bid out to the public. The other one is you give D block to public safety and you must use that portion of D block. Now, to explain D block, I'll just give you some random numbers. 700 is the frequency that D block, the old TV stations that we gave up from analog to digital. River Edge, police, fire, ambulance, we're on the 150 block. Okay, so we're outside that. If the second piece of legislation goes through and you have to give up what you have, the portable radios alone cost about $2,500 a piece, and there are numerous radios within the borough and the county, who's now built a new center up in Mawa, is on the 470. So everybody's outside the 700, so you have to be very careful what we're sponsoring. Yes, we need the D block, mostly for broadband in case the phone companies go out of business, so to speak, if we have a major disaster like the 9/11 incident. Okay, and we could use our own broadband system that the state is working on right now. But that's to just give you a little insight down the road if something comes up. The other item that I wanted to bring up was mentioned at the last council meeting that we're going to disregard the grant money going to the American Legion and that we're going to hold off on doing anything with the American Legion. My question is, we know that mold grows, and if we have a known situation, we've gotten rid of it in this building, we've gotten rid of it in the adjoining building, but if we know it's over there and we don't make it subside at this point, it's going to gradually get worse and get out of control. So I'm hoping that someone is looking into that aspect of it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Carroll. Okay.
Ma'am?
Yes, Alan?
I'm sorry, I have a question for Neil Carroll, who's our 911 coordinator. I hope you've proofread Resolution 11150 and you're in agreement with it.
Yes, and we're going to hand carry it to Washington on Wednesday and give it to the politicians and saved the borough postage money. I've worked it out between you.
Just want to make sure it's correct before it goes before the council for a vote. Thank you.
Okay, yes, please.
I'm sorry. The mention of the Legion building reminded me that I was going to ask about the mold. The one question that I have is if there's a leak there or that they do get water, which they did do, and it isn't taken care of every day. Yes, you will get mold, but don't they have in that building a sump pump to pump out any water that would come? They're right next to a spring. And I know at my house and what have you, anywhere you're near a spring, you wind up with the need for a sump pump. I would think that the town would put in a couple of sump pumps if it's big, or a sump pump, instead of letting the building keep getting worse. And I know I heard all this nonsense about the possibility of taking the building down. I don't think that that's a wise thing. That's my opinion. But if you're going to leave it there and think about what you're going to do with it, I think it would be wise to start doing a little bit about keeping some of the problems out of there, not making them worse.
Great. Thank you, Peggy.
Thank you.
I don't know. I don't know if they have a sump pump. I do know that they do have, but I do know that the men who were in the American Legion used to spend hours mopping up in addition to the pump. So, yeah. Okay, I didn't know that the pump was, maybe they have a pump.
Maybe they need a much better one.
It does function.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, anybody else who wishes to be heard? Yes, please.
I think as a resident, I would like to thank Mr. Cords and Mrs. Cords for giving up those health benefits. As it is, I think it's commendable to the rest of the council as well that you've chosen not to take them and burden the town with it. I am also kind of embarrassed the way it got carried out in public within the web. I think at a time that we're in the midst of a major battle with our neighbor and we share that particular posting area with our neighbors, I think it made us look very silly as a town, and I was very disappointed in some of the things that I read.
Thank you, Mr. Arkelian. Is there anyone else who wishes to be heard? Okay, seeing that nobody else wishes to be heard, I'd like a motion to close this portion of the meeting.